Hey everybody, it's Shelby here at Shuffles Tap and Musical Theater School at Studio Maestro, and today I am finally in an open room where I can film a video for you, and I am so excited to do this one. I've been wanting to do this video for you for a really long time, and this is going to be my 10 rules of tap dance that every tap dancer should know. Now, some of this is more obvious and some of it is more specific to various steps, but I've been teaching such a long time that over the years I've sort of developed these rules of tap dance that I thought I would share with you today. Let's get started. So my first tap dance rule is actually a rule that most people all over the world know the answer to, which is if you want to make something faster, you have to make it smaller. My additional rule is and more relaxed, because you can tap dance small, but if you're making every sound with your muscles and working really hard to do so, you're just not going to tap with the ease or the speed that you need to. So my second part of that rule is if you want to make something faster, you have to make it smaller and more relaxed. My second rule of tap dance is another general rule. I see people do one of two things very often, and this rule helps on both sides of this problem. My rule is, when you tap dance, you need to stand up straight and lift and stand up with proper posture and bend your knees as they need to bend. The reason I say this so often is because people do one of two things. They either stand up straight and don't bend their knees as needed, and then they end up having a really big problem making their tap sounds. But on the other hand, there are also people who start in a squatting position, and they tap with their knees bent, but never allowing themselves to straighten, which also does not allow your legs to relax. So another thing people do is they bend and straighten when they dance a lot, and you don't need to do that. You can very easily do something like a paradiddle without bending and straightening your standing leg. One of my biggest rules in tap dance, and it is again a general rule, is to relax your ankles. This is so true in something like a paradiddle, shuffles, flaps, but really anything you can think of. We really don't want to make our sounds by flexing at our ankle. We want to make our sounds from our upper legs and let our feet hang. So if you just really shake out your ankles before you start taking a class, it's going to be incredibly helpful when you start tap dancing. We want to literally let our foot dangle and hang. Say do a shuffle. My foot is hanging there. I am not flexing and pointing my foot to make these sounds. Another tap dance rule that pertains to paradiddles is often I see people reaching for their paradiddle. What I mean is they go like this. Because I think when they look in the mirror, they see what looks like people's feet going so far in front of them. But that's actually not very helpful. My advice is to just drop down right where you are. Rather than taking this part of your body and pushing it forward or backward, you should stand normal and drop where it feels comfortable for you. So don't reach for a paradiddle. And even if you keep this still, reaching away from it still won't help you. It's only going to get faster if you teach yourself to do it right underneath you where your upper body feels in control and comfortable. This next tap dance rule pertains to shuffles. This rule, I don't know if anyone that's watching my videos dances in other styles, but if you are someone who does jazz or ballet, I tend to find when I say or think to do a triple pirouette, I always get a clean double at least. So if you're sort of trying to overshoot for something, you'll at least nail that thing. But then if someone says do a quadruple pirouette, all of a sudden you find you have really clean triples. So I sort of took that rule and morphed it into tap dance. And what I like to think about for shuffles is making a hole in the floor. Try to dig a hole in the floor with a shuffle. Because if you try to hit the floor, it's so likely that you might miss the floor. But if you try to dig a hole in the floor, you won't miss the floor itself. My next tap dance rule that also pertains to shuffles has to do with straightening your knees. So I see a lot of people trying to keep their knee bent. We shuffle from a bent position, but that doesn't mean we don't straighten our leg. We do. We straighten our leg at its front point before we bring it in. So even when we're dancing fast and small, that knee still does come to a straightened point before we bend it again and release it. My next rule has to do with running flaps, and that is only allow one of your feet to be on the ground at a time. So often I see people flap like this, and that doesn't have the energy or the running feeling that a flap should have. A running flap is a brush and a leap, and a leap means we're going from one foot to the other. You would never see a runner run like this. It just looks funny. So similarly, let's not flap like that. So with the idea in mind that we are only allowed to have one foot on the ground at a time, it will force us to do nicer running flaps that have more energy. This next rule is something that I say all the time. It pertains to a bunch of different steps. Anytime you have a shuffle followed by a hop, a leap, a jump, or any sort of pullback, so that includes shuffle grab-offs, maxi forwards with a pullback in them, Irishes with a pullback in them, anything of that nature. My biggest rule is to shuffle in plie and do not even think about going into the air until after the shuffle. So often the mistakes that I see are people going like this and trying to shuffle on the way up. That is not what works. In fact, it's the opposite of what works. What you want to do is shuffle at your lowest point, so then afterwards you can go up and over. And that way you'll be making both sounds of your shuffle and both sounds of your pullback if that's what's next. So, for example, I really want to get low during that shuffle, then go up and over when I'm doing a maxi forward with a pullback. Same with grab-offs. Notice I did not do this. I didn't go up until after that shuffle was my lowest point. This next rule is for switching pullbacks. Often, even when people can make two sounds, they don't make them separated enough to sound clean. They go like this. What I want you to think about as a rule is that you're not just replacing one foot with the other. Instead, what you're actually trying to do is get both feet into the air at the same time before the second foot lands. So, I'm not just thinking of replacing one with the other. I'm thinking of both of them being in the air for one little moment before the other one lands. That way, I really have space between my first and second sound and can control both sounds I'm making. Another rule that I wanted to share with you, and this has to do with double toe stands. Yet, I'm not sure I've even taught double toe stands in a video itself, but something I always like to mention is that when you're going up on your toes, especially in something quick, it's so easy to get nervous that you're going to hurt your toes. I have really messed up feet and I can still do double toe stands without pain because of this rule. My rule is don't go up and touch your toes and then go down. Because that puts a lot of strain on your toes. Instead, I like to think of jumping and then just touching my toes on the way down as part of my landing. Because in that case, I am putting none of my body weight on my tiptoes at all. So I hope that helps you as well. So that was my 10 rules every tap dancer must know. I hope you found it helpful. If you want more videos like this, let me know and I will continue to make them for you. I will see you in our next video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.